Okay, folks, looks like we are live. Husker Nation, sports world, welcome to what I'm calling the spinoff. This is going to be our interview section for the Scarlet and Cream Husker podcast. Today, I am very well blessed to be joined by Elli, the Great Grapp, female boxer. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, what's up? Nice to be on with y'all, and hey to everybody listening.
So just to let everybody know, this is not going to be the typical Husker podcast type thing. We're not going to be diving into Husker football. So anybody, you know, channeling in, watching that's looking for Husker knowledge, that is not happening today. We are branching out on this.
Yep, and apologies in advance, y'all. I'm still learning here. I'm about close to zero as football knowledge can get. So I was just telling Brian, I'm like, I'm happy to learn your stuff, and I'm happy to teach you about all of my stuff. So,
well, what it is here, I mean, Husker football, and especially Nebraska, it's everywhere you look.
Yeah,
it's what we live on. It's what we look forward to. So, I mean, that's really all you need to know about it. If somebody's from Nebraska, they're probably a Husker fan.
No, so, I've definitely managed to learn that being here for as long as I've been here now. I managed to buy the T-shirt so that every time the Husker football game is coming nearby, I can make sure I at least fit in look-wise. But yeah, conversationally, y'all will have me lost. So.
That's all right. And see, you would have us lost when it comes to your world in sports. So, I mean, it's really, it goes both ways. So,
yeah,
and
totally.
that's, man, I've been waiting for this. And I'll tell you, I'm going to just roll right into it. What's the biggest obstacle that you faced in the boxing world?
Yeah. Being a woman, I think, is probably the biggest one. I mean, there's obstacles for everybody that, as far as boxing goes, that we all run into. It's a hard sport, super physical, takes its toll mentally and physically, just like any sport. So there's all of that. But then additionally, being a woman is just that one extra obstacle in this sport. You have to fight a little bit harder to be taken seriously, to be given the same opportunities. And you do it because you love it, not because there's a huge chance of you ever making insane money in it, because even the women at the top of this sport are just not being given their what is owed to them, I would say.
And do you see, has there been much of a shift, ever since, we've had the Me Too movement, and the women are definitely more in a front and center role in this day and age, and thank God, because we could use the direction.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, has things gotten better in, say, the last 5-6 years, or has it been about the same?
I would say it has gotten better. I wouldn't really tie it to any of the Me Too movement or any of, that increased social awareness of women's equality and all that. I would say more actually there's been a kind of Olympic class of women that came out of the Olympics. I think it was 2012. And those women have really been making a name for themselves and kind of showing how athletic the sport can be, and drawing more attention to it seriously. Because before that class, right, in women's boxing, you've had people like Layla Ali, who is Muhammad Ali's daughter, and there was a lot of pull for that reason, but it wasn't because it was more of a pull because she was Muhammad Ali's daughter than anything. And she did, she's a great boxer, and I don't want to take anything away from that, but the entertainment side of it was a draw more from that standpoint rather than people being drawn to the sport because, dude, women are in there doing their thing, and you guys got to check this out, So I would say it's really gotten better. Recognition as there are some serious women athletes in this sport, and that Olympic class has really kind of done a lot to bring that to the forefront. And those women are totally they want the best fights because they want to see the sport progress. They want to see women's boxing as a sport progress rather than just their name. So I think we owe a lot to those women for sure.
And see, if you ask me, something women's boxing matches, women's MMA matches, even on down to WWE women. It to me it is more exciting. It seems like they're not phoning anything in. It is gas to the floor, start to finish, whether you screw up or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's you got to rebound and keep going. And it seems like they give it more their all than the men do every time they're out there.
I totally agree. And I think it for two reasons, right? Like we have a lot to prove and we feel that all of the time. So when you do put us in the ring, we're going to try to show you everything that we got. And we want to take this girl's head off too, right? Where I think on the men's side, there are totally those people too that are just killers and want to get in there and do their thing. But you see a lot of men's MMA and boxing where they're kind of playing with each other, and like you want them to just go in and they won't. Where I don't think you see that a ton in women's boxing and MMA. Like these women are going in there and swinging, like they are just not gonna let up at all. So I think you definitely do. Like there is like a lot of entertainment value on the women's side that people don't give a big chance in the promotion world. That they don't really like, I think, give women's fighting as much of a shot as it deserves.
So what was your, I guess, start of your passion for the boxing and MMA world? Where did that really begin?
Yeah, I wish I had a cooler like origin story for my fighting. When I was in grad school, and you like hear people gain the freshman 15. Well, I guess it's like the longer you stay in school, the more weight you gain. So I'm in grad school and I'm like, dude, I need to get in shape. And had checked out this gym and they had like the boxing as fitness side of things. They had some of those classes going on. I was like, sure, whatever. Like that sounds fun. And just like totally loved it. And the guy that taught it, Nino Malong, if you're listening, hey, what's up? He was like, yeah. Eventually it was like, you should like try to look into this as like actually competing in MMA. And I was like, dude, I do not want to throw kicks. I was like just healing from like an ACL, MCL injury too. And so I was like, I have no interest in being on the ground or, throwing kicks or being kicked. Like, no thanks. But I loved boxing. And so I started investigating more into that side of it. And just, the deeper I got into it, the more I loved it. And really like, as the training progressed, I was like, I want to see what I can do. I really want to like, get in a ring with somebody and like, just let them have it. And so I think that's kind of when I knew like I had the spirit for this thing. Like I want to fight. I don't just want to like hit a bag and be like, woohoo, lost some weight, good cardio. That's kind of like how I got started in it, and then bounced around gyms in DC. In Iowa, I was at a gym for a little bit, and then in Texas was really where I think I got my like foundational boxing education, I'll say. Yeah.
Hey, that seems like that might be the state to get that type of education in.
They're stacked, I will say. Like the South period, like those people are fighters, whether or not they're good fighters, they're willing to go in there and throw some hands. So yeah, no, it was a really intense atmosphere to be learning in, and I think it definitely like pushed me to be the fighter I am right now. So yeah.
That's good. I see my wife was born in Texas, so I kind of know how that Texas attitude can be. And man, you don't want to be on the wrong side of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, you really don't. But you do want to be learning from them if you are trying to fight. So I was grateful for that. Yeah.
So what do you look forward to right before a fight? Like what psychs you up? What really gets those juices flowing?
I think it's good to have like good people around you as you're like kind of getting ready for a fight. I'll say music, totally, and I'll like pinpoint like a few songs that like I'll just like play on repeat. Like whatever song at the time is just like getting me totally hyped. I will like just honestly like be blaring that thing on repeat just to like get myself in that zone. Music, people that are like, that totally believe in you. Yeah. I think that's kind of the environment I get my head into before a fight.
So did this really kind of grab you? Say that first time right before your fight, I'm sure just the adrenaline had been flowing. Were you addicted right from that point?
Okay, so I will say like my first fight didn't come for a long time. So I've had 2 fights now, and my first fight was in September of this year.
Oh, wow.
And so I've been training for a few years and didn't really get to this point of getting to experience the fight until really recently. But I've had tons and tons of sparring leading up to that, and so I've got a lot of experience in the ring. I hadn't been able to experience that like high of fighting. So I would say like going into the fight, like that isn't the thing that got me addicted to this sport. But it is like a high, like you get done with it and you're just like, you feel this like intense release of like, whew. Yeah, it's just super intense. And then like leading up to it, like your whole body is just like going through what it needs to go through to get you ready. And like it goes from like extreme fatigue before the fight, because you're just like overwhelmed with the stress of it, to it being like a adrenaline response of like, let's do this thing. And then I feel like right before the fight, it's like just all evens out. Like you feel like this energy, but like really calm, like you're just excited to do it, and like come on, let's get this thing done. Yeah.
I would hope that's the way. It's something I've always wanted to know was, I mean, myself, I've been in football, I've been in wrestling, baseball, track and field, but I've never been in a physical one-on-one sport other than wrestling. Nothing where I get hit on purpose. What does it take to actually take that shot straight to the head and then to clear the cobwebs and keep going forward?
I think
what does that take?
Yeah, I think that's a good description when he said clear the cobwebs, because that's kind of how it feels. It's like you get, I mean, if you take one like really right to the dome, and then the moments right after, like, oh shoot, okay, like, and like it really just feels like your head like comes back to center, and okay, like it can kind of wake you up and make you perform better if you let it, or if you really let it get to you and fluster you, it can be the thing that like overwhelms you, and then gives them the upper hand. So you just don't want to be on the receiving end of being overwhelmed. And like I've been there plenty of times sparring where I'm the one getting overwhelmed. So when you're in the fight and that happens, like I don't know, it's so much adrenaline that like your body just performs, and that's kind of what it is. And so like watching the video afterwards where you're reacting from this stuff, it's just like, oh God, that was so ugly. Cause like I know better, but your body totally goes into like doing what it knows. And so if what it knows are some bad habits, like that's what you're going to do in the ring. But yeah, taking the hit, I don't know. To me, that's like the easiest part of it. Like what are you going to do? Like, you know that it's coming. So take it, and do it. Like that's part of this sport, is getting hit. You want to get hit the least amount possible, right? Like you want to make them miss and make them pay, is what we say. But you know that it's going to come, whether it's in sparring or a fight or whatever. So that's kind of like the basic level of acceptance that you need to have going into a fight. Yeah, you just don't want to let them do lights out.
Now, switching gears to the other side of it, if you are the one landing that shot, how quick does your reaction have to be to go into complete attack mode, no letting up? How quick do you have to be before you know your opponent has made the recovery?
Okay, yeah, that's an awesome question, and it's something that I've struggled with, and I'm still like fighting through this bad habit of like, when you land something that you didn't really see it coming, like you're like, oh shoot, like she's hurt. And like there is this like split second of like you need to like rush in and overwhelm her before she gets her senses back, and like I said, like lets it wake her up to fight back hard. So yeah, there's a super quick response that needs to happen between when you land that punch and you see like the eyes roll back just a little bit, or like you can tell when somebody's just a little bit like discombobulated. Like you need to like act on that quick. Like you need to be pressuring the hell out of them to finish that. So that's something that I've definitely improved on and can definitely get better at. So yeah, but there's that moment of like, oh my God, it landed. And then like you need to push forward. So yeah, that was an awesome question.
Absolutely. You see that all the time in boxing and MMA and replays. It seems 50% of the time, or maybe even more, the shot that lands that just is on the button and puts the lights out is the one that the person throwing it, their eyes are closed and didn't even realize that they landed it.
Yes, totally. And it's like, and that's where I say it's really just like your body is just executing at that point. Like I'm not sitting there thinking like I'm gonna throw a jab and then I'm gonna try to do this. Like it's just like your body like senses what's going to happen. They feel out like the rhythm or whatever of the person in front of you and just executes it. So it's kind of like that. Like you just need to put in as much training as possible going into your fight, because that's what's going to happen. Whatever you trained is going to come out in the fight. If you didn't train enough, it'll show in the fight. If you trained the wrong things, it'll show in the fight. So yeah, it all comes out.
So when you're training for a fight, you said you've only had 2 fights so far.
Yep.
What does it really feel like to come out of that tunnel, walking toward the ring, knowing it's just going to be you and one other person inside that ring? What is completely going through your head at that point? Is it strategy, or is it just trying to keep yourself kind of in check and just keep those nerves where they need to be?
So depends, right? Like depends kind of where you're at mentally, like leading up to the fight. So I know like for both of them, like I know I was walking into the ring and like feeling like, dude, like screw this girl, like I don't like you. And that's how I felt. Like I felt like the calmness of that though, like, and yeah, it's like it's a very like calm anger. Like like I need to punish this person for thinking that they can get in the ring with me. But like just like I don't know how to describe the level of calm. But I will tell you, like my first fight, I felt so excited because it had been so much buildup of training and like me preparing for this thing that I was just like, I was so insanely excited to just get in there and do it. The second fight came like 1 month after this fight. And so like, I was just kind of like surprised and not like who would have thought like it had taken me 3 years to get my first fight. And then like 1 month later,
just boom, boom.
Okay. Like I just wasn't like mentally like expecting that. And so I think going into that fight, I had more of this like, oh my God, okay, let's just get this done. Like, let's do it. But I didn't have that chance to like rebuild up that excitement. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into kind of where you're at mentally getting into the ring, I guess.
Now, I think it'd be safe to say that any boxer wants to end the match as quick as possible.
Yeah.
But as a boxing fan, would you rather see just that epic match that goes 12, 15 rounds and it's both fighters giving it their all, or would you just rather see 2 heavyweights that are big names coming in and it's over in the first round? What would you rather see?
Okay. Oh, that's hard. I would say as somebody that like knows what they're looking at and enjoys the sport, like you want to see like a lot of examples of things playing out, which happens when fights go longer. But as like a normal human being, like you want to see that crazy knockout, like that thing that just like is like, oh my God, did you see this happen? And so I would say like even as a boxer, like the ones that we're talking about in the gym the next day are like the crazy finishes. Like we'll watch tape on the ones that went 12 rounds and where you get to see a lot of like technique and stuff play out. And I think a lot of those like technical fighters are the ones that do go longer in professional fights. Like they go longer rounds. So knockouts are cool to see though. And you know, you always want to, like you said, that's what you're looking for in the fight. Even if you're fighting amateur and it's not as likely, that's what you want to do.
So you're trying to make the transition, you said, into MMA. Now, what sparked wanting to make that transition? And how hard has it been?
So want is a strong word. I guess I would say like I've been toying with the idea of MMA only because like it's the same thing that like draws you into like when I was telling you about like I started training in boxing and it's like I want to see what I could do. It's the same kind of like curiosity when it comes to thinking about MMA. It's like I wonder if like this could translate and I could really just like mess somebody up like almost no rules, like or far fewer rules than boxing, right? So I think like there's that just kind of like and there's that in every fighter, like kind of wondering what are my limits, and MMA definitely like opens that up. Also, women are treated a lot better in MMA as far as and everything else. So, you know, I'm definitely not close to the idea. I'm in love with boxing and always will be. But if MMA treats me a little better, I might find a spot in my heart for MMA too.
And would it if you did make that transition, would it be the excitement of learning new styles of combat in itself, like Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu? Would you be looking more at developing your ground game if you made that transition, more so than working on your stand-up?
Yeah, I think, okay, so my goals, if I was to transition into MMA and take a fight in MMA, what I would be worried about is protecting from the takedown, because no matter how much I prepare within whatever amount of time, I know that my striking game and my boxing is my strong suit. So that's where I want to be as a fighter. So I would be looking to figure out how to protect from the takedown. And then also like if taken down, how to get back up. So that would be my main concern. But also like getting enough learning with the ground game to function and not get overwhelmed by that is important. But like you said, I love just the learning that comes with combat sports. So getting to learn other aspects of fighting period is exciting to me. And yeah, I would be definitely thrilled to learn more.
So, okay, we'll stay away from the MMA part of it right now. We'll go back to boxing.
For sure.
What ultimately, and as you said, you've only had 2 amateur fights so far, but ultimately, where do you want to see yourself? Still, obviously, still in the boxing world. Say 3 to 5 years from now.
3 to 5 years from now, I'm fighting professionally. I would say like that's my mindset already. Like I'm training for that to be where I'm going. Just want to get enough experience at the amateur level to propel me into that successfully. 3 to 5 years. I mean, shoot, if I could get a championship belt, like if I could hold a world championship, that would be cool to me. So hopefully in 5 years, maybe we can circle back and I can show you my belt.
Absolutely. As soon as you get it, and you know what? Let's not even say 3 years. We'll say you'll have it within 3 years. Absolutely. We're gonna have you back on the show. I want to see it on the wall behind you or on your shoulder.
Yep.
I mean, that'd be exciting, definitely.
I'll like stand up and show it to you next time. Yeah.
Absolutely. I could see it already. That's exactly what we're gonna have. All right. I had to ask this one. This was something my wife actually wanted me to ask part of, and it was. How hard is it to stay focused on training while also handling the daily hustle of being a mother?
Oh my God. Yeah, I feel
That's
that.
the important one. That's important.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a single mother, and I'm so grateful that you know, I'm in a great like co-parenting situation, but it's hard. Like the days that I've got my son, like I need to. That's my main priority is being a mom, and at the end of the day, like his health and happiness are my main priority. Now that could be an easy excuse for me not to also like chase my dreams and my purposes. And it's something that I've wrestled with for sure. I would say if you're motivated to do something and you know you're motivated for the right reasons, like you'll figure a way out. It's just a lot of logistics and a lot of tired days. So, but when the motivation's there, you push through to make it work. And there's a lot of, you know, single moms out there doing their thing and figuring out a way forward, not only for their kids, but for their dreams too. So it's hard. I love it. My son is about a year and a half old now, and he watches so much more than I think because I'm like, I don't bring him to the boxing gym with me really anymore because he's at that age, right, where you just have to like chase him around constantly. But he shadow boxes. Like he'll like throw little like tiny punches. And so I'm like, oh God, like so that to me, you can tell your wife, I'm just waiting for the day where I go to pick him up from daycare and there's an incident report on him thinking of their kid. But no, I love it. I love all the aspects of my life, right? Like I love boxing, I love being a mom, and I'm just thankful that I get to do all of it.
All right, Ellie, I got to tell you, this has been completely awesome. I can't thank you enough. I just want to give the platform to you, let people know what's going on in your life, where they can find you, when your next fight's coming up, what's going on in Elli Grapp's life.
Well, yeah, well, stay tuned for my next fight. I'm not sure when it's happening yet, but I know it's coming, and hopefully soon. You know, my first two fights were both ended by technical knockout, so I am looking forward to doing that again, and I hope I get some more followers to follow me to that third fight. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at Elli Grapp, ELLIANNGRAPP, and that is where you can find all of my boxing and mothering accomplishments. But yeah, I would love to get your fan base to be my fan base. I'm so thankful to be here in Omaha, fighting out here in Nebraska, and it's a great community of support, no matter what the sport. So thankful for this opportunity.
You bet. I got one last question for you, and I am crediting this all to Houston Alexander for this because when we talked the night before, I did the interview with him.
Yeah.
I gave him my first question. It was a toss-up, and he's like, "Man, that's just like asking me what my favorite color is." So, you know what, Houston, here you go. And Ellie, I need to know, what's your favorite color?
Favorite color is green. I would say green. Yep, represents growth to me. So yeah, thanks for that toss-up.
No problem. Elli Grapp, thank you so much. This has been the spinoff with the Scarlet and the Cream Husker podcast. You can find us on Twitter at the Scarlet Cream. You can find me on YouTube just by my name, Brian Knutson, and that's where you'll be able to find this interview on video. You'll be able to find the audio at the Scarlet Cream or anywhere you find podcasts. Ellie, thank you so much, and we hope to have you again soon.
Thanks so much, Brian.